What's up, race fans? It's 7 o'clock. It's Thursday, and it's time for the Thursday Night Throttle live on Top Row Racing Media, presented by ELH Detailing and Federated Auto Parts. This is your look ahead to the weekend events in the Top Row Racing network of tracks and your look around Michiana Motorsports. My name is Buju, live from South Bend, Indiana, sometimes a race car driver, host of the Bullring Chronicles, host of the Monday Night Rewind, and host of the Thursday Night Throttle, joined by the man in the top row himself, Louis Noakes. How are we doing, Louis?
Tired, still recovering.
Yeah.
I've downloaded 176,000 photos from
Whew.
another photographer who, they're having me take over some of their stuff. And when I did the total, and it had 176,000. It was 102 at one point, and I downloaded another folder that it was 41,000 alone, and I went,
Yeah.
this is taking forever.
Yeah.
But kind of on the clock. So if I look like I blink or whatever, it's just a lot.
Yeah. I got to go to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for work on Tuesday, so I got to enjoy that for the day. I was bragging on that, and then I went and got sick the next day. So I've been getting over that today.
Oh,
I feel a lot better today, but yesterday kicked my butt a little bit. So bounce back a little bit today.
Is it a fume thing, or do you think so?
No, I think it was sinuses with the weather going up and
Yeah.
down and going crazy. It was a sinus headache, I think.
So every time I went down to Bristol, those couple times that I went down and came back, the one year was the kind of off the COVID year. So then everyone was thinking, well, it's COVID. It's like, other things do exist other than COVID, just so you know.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
science has proven that.
Yeah.
But
I was scared to have allergies that year.
yeah. It's like there are other things other than COVID. Just FYI. Like, I know the news doesn't tell you that, but I promise you, it's not everything. Just because some students doesn't mean they have COVID, right? But anyways, I understand the caution, but sometimes I think they're over caution, right? Like, be cautious, but just because I'm sneezed, right? But then the year after, it was about the same. And even when I went down with Vors and everything, and I came back, and I'm like, they got the blossom trees, they got all the things down there that we didn't at that point, right? So their trees are many weeks ahead of ours, and so being down in Indianapolis, I mean, that's still just far enough away, to up here.
But to speak on the experience at the track, I was very lucky to go for work, obviously, very thankful for that. But getting to walk around Gasoline Alley and all that during Indy 500 testing opening day, I think we saw literally every driver walk around except Elio. I didn't see Elio Castroneves, but super cool experience. We got down to pit road. Don't know if we were supposed to be there, but we were there. It was super cool to be at Indy. I'd never had an experience like that. And the last time I went to Indianapolis was a school field trip. Took one step off the bus and puked. And then laid under a tree the rest of the time. So this was a much better experience at Indy.
Do you follow like Indy racing at all? Or
so I'm not a big fan of the current IndyCar product, but the 500s obviously a little different. I love the pageantry of the race and the tradition of it more than anything. But yeah, the product I'm not a huge fan of these days. I will watch the 5. I got testing on literally right now on the TV, but yeah, the 500, yes. The rest of IndyCar, not as much. I like them on ovals. They don't run enough ovals for me.
I wondered because a lot of people, like when it comes to F1, you watch it or you don't. You kind of find that with a lot of people that they're either really into it or they're not. And sometimes you find, at least in my experience, when I've asked people, they'll watch F1, but they won't watch NASCAR.
Right.
Or if they're watching NASCAR, they don't. Sometimes they'll watch F1, sometimes they don't watch F1. Yeah. So I just kind of like, I just don't watch any of it. Like, I don't watch NASCAR. We talked about that. The only reason why I watch it is Daytona is one. It's Daytona, but that's the first time I watched Daytona in years. But mostly because of the MJ stuff, to just see how that all happened, right? Like, again, as I told people, if you didn't watch The Last Dance and thought Michael Jordan was going to lose this, then you're crazy. So he's going to win one way or another. Right. And but yeah, so that's pretty cool. I saw the photo of you down there, and that's when I almost went to a PRI meeting. I was invited to a PRI meeting, and I ended up not going. It was It was the day after the 500 media tour, so I was already down there. I was going to get a hotel and everything, and then literally PRI is not that far from. I mean, you go down the one road, and you turn right there, the one corner. I forget what turn it is, but one of the turns at Indianapolis. It's literally right there, and I thought that would have been a cool experience. I've never been to Indy. I don't even know that I've been by the track, but But
Right.
obviously you being a Hoosier, that's home turf, that's home,
Yeah.
that's home pride
Hmm.
with that. So that was fun that you got to do that and made it safely down there and safely back.
Yeah. And I didn't have to drive. My boss drove. That was a nice treat as well.
Well, then you don't get to claim the mileage on the drive though. So it's kind of like,
Hey,
mileage
fair
money
enough.
is nice money because it's not tax money. So,
Yeah.
it's
My car doesn't need any more mileage.
oh yeah, it's one of those though that sometimes when I was on a state board for a couple years and I made more money, kid you not, I made more money driving to Lansing once a month than sometimes I did sitting at my workplace for
Yeah.
8 hours.
Fair enough.
I'm like, and that was when gas, or that's not gas, that's when the mileage was like 50 some cents a mile. Like that's what you got. And I'm like, I
Hmm.
made more
Right.
driving to Lansing and back than what I did sitting there for 8 hours. So I always liked those Fridays. I didn't always
Mm.
like to drive because coming back from Galesburg, it never failed. And the
Yeah.
Galesburg area on 94 always bottlenecks on the way back,
Right.
westbound. I'm like, every time, always. And now on my way up, it's always Mattawan. It just never fails. I don't know what's so special about Mattawan, but going through Mattawan, it's like all of a sudden I-94 just backs up. People are braking and doing all the things. I'm like, there's literally like nothing here.
Right.
Like, yeah, there's the Speedway and all that, the Speedway gas station, but it's like
Yeah.
it's not like there's hotels off there's nothing like that you think would be driving all this traffic, but literally every day,
Yeah.
every Friday going to there. So, but now I get off at Mattawan
Hmm.
as I go the back roads, I'm avoiding all the
There you go.
construction. Now I don't have to deal with it as much because it's past the exit that you deal with it. I'm like,
Hmm.
there's nothing here.
Right. You mentioned Fridays, however. Speaking of Fridays, I got my Kalamazoo shirt on here.
Oh yeah. Hey, did you
Yeah.
get any of the tie dye ones, like the new tie dye ones
I
that they?
haven't. I haven't got anything this year. This one's pretty old. I got this one a while ago.
Well, those are some of the photos that I've been downloading. I've been downloading. I'm over 10 years ago. Some
Yeah.
photos that I've been downloading. A lot of Call of the Wild. So
Hmm.
I never witnessed Call of the Wild. So seeing that, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what it is now.
Yeah.
Like I've had people describe it, but
Yeah.
until you see it,
I'm a clearance rack fiend at the racetrack.
oh yeah, not a
I
bad
love
thing.
I love a good $5-10 shirt from a race trailer or a racetrack souvenir shop. Oh yeah, give me the clearance stuff.
Well, if you think of not that long ago, that's what T-shirts cost.
Yeah,
There a
right.
long time, I'm like, I don't pay more than $12 for a shirt. You can't even get a T-shirt for $12
Yeah,
anymore. Like
yeah.
I had to give that up. But other than that, I know it's a summer like weather's coming this weekend. So
Yes,
I
sir.
know it's some rain in the morning and all that on the next couple of days and everything. But um, this is like now it is T-shirt weather, so you get to maybe you get to show off some of your other vintage shirts that you have because I know
Yeah,
you have a bunch of them. But
I've
it's
neglected.
finally we don't have to be in 6 layers to be at the track.
Yeah, finally. Exactly. I don't
And
have. Yeah, I've had my winter coat in my trunk the last few times I've gone to the
yep.
racetrack just in case. That's where we've been at.
And now it's gonna be like 90. Like a week later, we go from cold and freezing to like 90.
Right.
I mean, it's just kind of crazy how that happens. But other than that, I know we talked last week about the question, and you and I were kind of starting the
Oh yeah.
conversation. So I do want
I,
to remind, um, a couple
I'm
actually,
I'm
if
such
there's
a bad host. I always forget these damn questions. I'm sorry. I still haven't sent you any.
it's fine. Hey, you know what? We have a show though, and all the graphics are done, so you're welcome. You get to host, and I do all the legwork to get it. Let you host and do your part. But with the throttle response, we talked a little bit about it last week. Irish Saunders talked about it a couple months ago in the Monday Night Rewind, and so we're wondering how long should a race program last in duration? And you can, of course, you don't have to just give the letter. You can also give an explanation too. But A, 1 to 2 hours, B, 2 to 3 hours, C, 3 to 4 hours, or D, race all night. Who cares? We'll be there until 6 in the morning and go get breakfast at Steak and Shake or Denny's or wherever you are in your area. And so what do you think? What's your opinion? I know you and I talked a little bit about it last week. Buju, where um, just kind of the general theme since we seems to be anywhere between like a 3-4 hour program.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what. Yeah, first green flag to the last checkered flag of the night, as far as
Yes.
race program goes, yeah, that 3 to 4 hour window, I think, is exactly where you need to be.
And I think anything, like past that, right? You start pushing, like on Fridays. And there's a person, when I posted that, they're arguing it can't be done. A program can't be done in 4 hours. I'm like, well,
Oh,
Kalamazoo gets 96 cars and we're done in 3. So if Kalamazoo can do that with 96 cars, then a track with half that should be able to figure it out. Not including like an intermission. Like I know some tracks do, 15, 20-minute intermission that gives their staff a break and all that. That's something that at Kalamazoo, we don't have time for intermission. On Fridays, there's just no time, right? And I know Hartford is in the same boat. They start at 7:30. They want to be done, by 10 the latest. They don't want to keep going.
mhm.
And so it's one of those things that, when someone always says it can't be done in 4 hours, 96 cars, Kalamazoo, 7:30, 10:30 on a weird wonky night.
Yeah.
It can be
Yeah.
done.
We talk about dirt all the time and how their track time is different from
Yep.
asphalt. I go to those Eldora shows where there's literally 90 dirt late models and they get them all through. Everybody hot laps,
Yep.
qualifies, heat race, B features, A feature, and it's all done in like 2.5 hours max.
Yep. Yeah. It may be crazy. And I think sometimes that's where you get the whole, well, I didn't get my $15 worth because the race program's done in 3 hours. And it's like, but think of the family, and we kind of talked about this last week. Think about the family who, like, let's take a Saturday.
Mhm.
For example, if they have high school sports, softball, baseball, soccer is all going on right now. So when our tournaments, Saturdays, because like in both Indiana and Michigan, you're allowed only so many games a day. So you can play 2 games Monday through Friday. Saturday, Sunday, oh, I forget what the Sunday rules, but Saturday you can play 3 or 4 games depending on the sport. So, with that, right, like, okay, if I have a tournament, my first game is 10 a.m. So I've been at a
Yeah.
field since 8,
Mhm.
probably, 10, 12, and 2 usually is like
Yeah.
a softball tournament. Baseball, little different games go a little longer. But think about that. Okay, I've been going since early in the morning. Now I'm going to go to a racetrack. If I've been doing all that already, I don't want to sit at the racetrack till 4 in the morning, right? Like I've already been up and functioning and doing all these
Yeah.
things, whether it's a parent,
Mhm.
an athlete, or whatever it may be. So I think that's the thing that sometimes, um, like I'll stay at the track until the last feature, right? Like you're the same way, but
Yeah.
there still gets a point
Yeah.
where it's like, okay,
That's
let's get this done.
That's what I always have to remember. And I always try to answer these questions in the mind of a more casual fan because I am a freak that would be there
Yeah,
for 18, 19 hours if I could be. So, or the whole weekend, from
yeah.
Friday till sundown on Sunday. I would be fine with that. But I know we have to cater to a wider audience than just people like me.
If you want more fans.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, right? Like your hardcore is your hardcore. Like they talk about this in like WWE and AEW all the time. Your hardcore people, you can kind of do whatever, and they're going to defend whatever, right? And but but hardcore only fills so many seats.
Exactly.
We do need to pull in from others. We need to, kind of think about not just selfishly us. And well, I'll be at the track till 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
That's you, but the 12 families that I saw pack up at 9:30 can't
Exactly.
do that.
Right.
And those are the people who we want back, who if they leave and say, well, we had to leave at 9:30 and they were still doing heat races, that's a problem. So, so I think it's one of those things that, again, just remind, because we have, fans jumping in and out. I shouldn't say guests. That's Monday. Fans jumping in and out. Um, Again, how long do you think? And there's no right or wrong answer. Again,
Yeah.
Buju saying that, we're those hardcore type where we could be there till 6, in the morning or whatever. I don't know, 6, 4's, but but that's not everybody. So we need to think about, what's your opinion, but also you don't have to just say letter. You can actually give an explanation. The letter just kind of helped differentiate some of that because Jacob Montgomery Frolic, he suggested that we take these throttle responses and then maybe after the show put it on as a poll or something on Facebook. And
Yeah. That is a
and
good
like
idea.
my page polls don't always seem to do super fancy.
Yeah.
Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. But I'm like, I'm not against it. It's
Right.
just usually in the past when I've done polls, because I don't do them often enough, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe I need to do it more often so people know, like, oh, okay, it's Wednesday. Lewis is going to be posting a poll. I should go answer it, or whatever. So, um, but other than that, I know most people are here. They don't want to. We can talk more about it a little bit after, but if we want to get into, because there's quite a few slides like last week, and I'm going to make sure that I click them all in order this time. So,
There you go.
not forget one, so people aren't yelling me in the chat. Now, just to put a little asterisk on this, not every track is listed. Like I didn't include Owasso this week because they had their Tuesday show, and they promoted and they do a nice job. So, since they didn't have that the week before, so we included Owasso. So not every week are we going to include every single track, just to give an idea that if there, you can certainly drop it in the comments if there's a track that we missed. But like if someone's like, well, Owasso, yep, I didn't include Owasso just because they have their own Tuesday program that they do, and I want to honor them and their media partner and everything that they have, with them. So
And
now,
I'm just the host.
yeah, now someone from Owasso's like, hey, you can keep adding us to that. That's pretty cool. Then we'll do it. But I want to respect, their show that they have on Tuesdays, just
Yeah, for
so
sure.
everyone understands. But so anyways. Let's go ahead and let's jump into Friday, the 15th. So Corgan Oil, and this is also on my race pass. If anyone wonders too where else they can find this, just to do a double check. Some tracks you can buy tickets online through my race pass. And so Figure 8 Racing returns, I believe, for the first time this year at Corgan Oil Speedway. They have modifieds, front wheel drives, mini wedges, and of course their Figure 8 Racing. And then at I-96, it's First Responder Night. So if you get on out there for their 8 p.m. show, they have UMP late models, IMC modified, street stocks, compacts, and mini wedge racing. And then Winston Speedway, if you haven't been following Winston, you definitely need to. They have really cool. Their whole team has just been putting in a ton of work into a track, bringing it back to life. It's been closed for several years. So tomorrow is their first show, Ignition, at Winston. They do a lot of like Star Trek-y, Star Wars-y kind of thing, which I know is two different things, but spacey sort of stuff. So Ignition at Winston is super late models, IMC modifieds, pro late models, and street stocks. And they do have two shows this week. It's a double header. They have a Friday show and Saturday. And so we'll talk about that coming up when we talk about Saturday, but just know that they do have two different shows at Winston this weekend to open things up. Then to continue on, Birch Run Speedway has their race night at 7:30 p.m. on the east side of the state. They have street stocks, American trucks, front wheel drive figure eights, and limited late models. And then over at Grundy, we just had Brian Kuseba on the other day. So we had him from Grundy, the race director. They have Armed Forces Night, and that's 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And they have limited late models. They're pavement midgets, not their pavement midgets, a traveling series pavement midgets, pure stocks, and of course Crown Vics. And then up the road from me, not too far away, at Hartford, they have their race night, and they have, of course, their weekly racing group, which are Super Trooper, Crown Vics, and Cyber Stocks. And then joining them, the special for the week will be the GLS or GL Great Lakes Traditional Sprints. Part of the Great Lakes Super Sprint Series, 410 non-wing sprints. So they will have non-wings this week over at Hartford. And then continuing on with Friday, at my track that I'll be at on Friday, Spring Championship. We've had one race night, and except for front wheel drives, street stock. So I guess they've had a few more races. But for our limited late models and template late models, you already get to race for a Spring Championship. So obviously the rainouts have impacted that, but trophies are on the line tomorrow, full program heats and features for everybody. And so that'll be late models, street stocks, limited late models, and front wheel drives. Excited to see the limited late model race again, just to see, after what Jerry is able to do. I was excited to see him make his debut in that car. When I talked with him in the pits, I said, a lot of Kalamazoo fans may not know what you can do in that car, but it's going to be exciting. And then he went out and blew the roof off of everybody. And then
Before we move on real quick, I
Yep.
love that the spring championship night thing. It reminds me of mid-season championship was a big deal when I was a kid, and I feel like we've gotten away from that in racing. I love that Kalamazoo does a spring championship.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that.
So this is like template Springport 101. And so Donnie Ritter was big on that over at Springport and maybe Galesburg. I don't know all of his Galesburg days. But I know that's something that when they were talking about the schedule this year, they had a very different philosophy than what has been used in the past, where they wanted to invest in the local groups more, smaller traveling series. I know obviously the Kalamazoo, we always think big time And that's not a bad thing. I mean, Kalamazoo is at that level, but sometimes you forget your weekly racers when you're doing that. And so they really want to invest this year in the weekly racing group. And so one of the things that they brought back were it's like spring championships. We will have a midseason championship. There's a fan night where it's $10 entrance. They have a lot of different things that is basically Springport 101. I'm sure others do that, but that's what Donnie did at Springport is they would have these kind of championship nights. And so it is very much a throwback, and it was a purposeful throwback. So, so I'm glad that like you've noticed that because that was something very intentional. Then over at Kankakee, they have weekly racing again at 7:30 p.m. Central Time for them. Again, UMP modified stock cars, pro modified, the sport compacts, late models, and their Crown Vics. And then Mount Pleasant launches online this week with a full show with IMCA modifieds, pro stocks, mini wedges, both age groups, stock cars, and Crown Vic. Crown Vic are super popular. Like, we don't always think about it, but, think of how many tracks in Illinois and in northern Michigan and everything that we say Crown Vics all the time. But then our final Friday track, at least from what I know of, is a rear-wheel drive figure eight night. That's B-mods, pro stocks, street stocks, bombers, mini wedges, both age groups, and they will also have lightning sprints over at Tri-State. So, again, a very, very busy Friday in the area that you can kind of get around. And then just on time purposes, let's go ahead and jump into Saturday, and then we can kind of dissect. So Saturday, March 16th, we have Berlin. That's where National Compacts will be, as well as the Kalamazoo Family Fun mini wedges. So they'll both be there. Then they'll have modified limited late models. And I think they're doing like a trunk or treat or something, trick or treat kind of thing after the races in the pit area. So again, Berlin.
Trick or treat in May? Heck yeah.
Yeah, Berlin does a lot of theme nights, and this is their next theme night. And then over at Butler, if you want more dirt track racing, they have weekly racing with 410 wing sprints, 410 non-winged, and then street stocks and four cylinders. And then over at Crystal, another dirt track, they have the Midwest Compact Series. So Drew Jack and his team are kind of divide and conquer. They got East Side, West Side all covered. And so Midwest Compacts will be also in action with late models, IMCA modifieds, pro stock, mini wedges, both age groups, bombers, and of course, as we said, Drew Jack's group will be over there. Then on Saturday, where I'll be is at Galesburg. It's my first night of destruction there, so I get to experience it for the first time. Who knows what Snails is going to do this time, but I'm only sure he will be doing something because he always seems to have a highlight coming out of that. So I'm excited to take that in over at Galesburg for the first time and figure that out. And then M40, they will have the Midwest Kart Series. So they're coming up. Eric just did some testing the other day there with the kart, and they're excited to bring them there. And then with the kart series will be the regular racing with Montville stocks, factory forge, road warriors, extreme stocks, street stocks, and limited late models. And then Josh, we're not at M40. We are at Galesburg. So I know that Buju and I are a few seconds ahead of where everyone else is hearing, so you might not have heard that yet, but I will be at Galesburg. So the cameras they'll be left home. So I won't be at M40, but I know the Champ Karts, if you've never watched them before, they do a really awesome job. So if you're down at M40, you're in for a treat because they know once they start drafting everything, man, it's just so fun to watch them go to town.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's Midwest Kart Series. And then down at Shady Hill, they have their race night with UMP Modifieds, Hobby Stocks, GLSS Sprints, and the four cylinders. And I'm going to make sure I click the right one this time. And then back at Winston, we will have Starfleet. As I said, they have spacey kind of things. Everything's commander log, so it's really awesome what they do up there. They're having fun with it. So they'll have their Saturday show, which is Cyber Stocks, Warriors, and Mini Wedges. And then we do have a Sunday show in the area. The mini wedges for Kalamazoo are back in action. They start at 1:15, and all four classes will be going. So not only their mini wedges, both age groups, but they'll also have the carts too. I actually forget what they call those things, but they're carts nonetheless. If they go to Rumble in Fort Wayne, they're going to be called carts. So I'm like, oh, I can't find what they call them, and I know it's somewhere on a post, but I scrolled enough and I went, okay, we're calling them carts now. So
I can't remember either.
Yeah, I'll find out Sunday.
I always default to wedge carts, so I can't remember either.
Yeah, Well, they have wedges, and then they
Right.
do a new class.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I
Yeah.
call those wedge carts. So
Oh,
I haven't locked in the name yet of them either. So
but they might. Well, they're sports champs, but I feel like they're
oh,
calling them
sport
series.
carts. I think you're right. I think sport carts. Anyways.
Yeah. So, like I said, I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled, and I went, "This is too much scrolling to find the
Yeah.
information that I'm looking for." So, after 40 seconds of scrolling, I went, "That's too many scrolls to find what I need." So I stopped looking.
Fair enough.
Which means they have an active Facebook page. It's not a bad thing, but it's like nothing was immediate that
Yeah.
lists everything out, and I went, "All right, I'm done scrolling." So, 40
The
seconds.
Warriors at Winston. What are those? Do you know? Are those Crown Vics or?
That I don't
Okay.
know.
I was just curious if you don't know, it's not
That
not a
might
big.
be that might be similar to like what a hornet would be,
Right.
because
Yeah.
some places
Yeah.
call them warriors.
Yeah. You get into the weeds sometimes with class names. Yeah. It's what you do bombers and like stuff
Yeah,
like that. That could mean four different things. Yeah.
because with Drew Jack, when they have Midwest Compacts, the second group that they always seem to have is like they call them the Warriors. So I'll have to
Yeah.
look. I know it's on their
I
Facebook
think
page.
you're probably right. It's probably a Hornet because if it's Cyberstocks, Hornets, Winnie Wedges, that makes sense. So I'm gonna roll with that.
Yep. Well, it made me think like I need to go back and look again because I remembered when I was going, but then I'm reading them like, man, you're throwing me off with a question now. I got to try to jog my memory, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read because they posted all the rules. They're doing pill draw there. They're doing different things. So,
Yeah.
and they have a very active social media. They've been showing the rebuild since
Mhm.
a while. So,
Yeah.
I'm excited
Yeah,
for.
we were talking about Winston before the show and looking in the book that we'll talk about here in a little bit, I guess. But they've had a tumultuous history, it seems. So definitely, if you have the opportunity to get out and support Winston in their reopening, yeah, get up there and do that if you can.
It's been several years, and I know they made a post yesterday that I want to say it was yesterday because I commented on it, where someone was complaining about like the bleacher seats and the fact that they had to pay for pit passes and all these things. I don't know what the policies were before, but
Yeah.
I've not been to a track that they don't have pit pay.
Yeah, I don't understand. You were telling me that before the show. People complain about the color
And
of the seats, which is the most
color,
bizarre complaint I've ever heard about anything anywhere. And then
yep,
paying for pit passes, which might be the most entitled thing I've ever heard of all time.
yeah.
So
And it's like, man, this track was closed, and we're finding something to complain about when literally, this group, Andrew and his team, are pumping. I don't even want to say what kind of money. We know it's probably close to $1 million because it's not cheap to reopen things and rebuild things and put in new and all that. I mean, anymore, it doesn't matter. And just the amount of fuel that they probably used. And we know fuel's expensive. So let's just say close to $1 million, if not more than that.
mhm,
Because they also bought it, right? So it's like, they're putting money into a facility that was literally doing nothing. And we're complaining about the bleacher board color.
mhm. Yeah, insane. Like I said, the
First world
craziest complaint I've ever heard. Yeah,
like,
my God.
there are 3 tracks for sale. Go do your own thing.
Yeah.
They're within a couple hours of there. Just go do your own thing then if you don't like it, and then you can criticize that. But I do want to point out, just because last Sunday while I was at M40, I was getting like many, 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 many messages. When are the programs going to be published? Remember, Buju, I said I've kind of been spoiling everybody where I've been doing it right away. And I have a 3-day weekend unless Mother Nature plays some havoc with that. But the rain's supposed to be mostly in the morning. So don't ask me because it's not going to happen on Sunday. And with the mini wedges, I have to be there so early. I promise you, I'm not staying up after I get home from Galesburg to edit the Kalamazoo program like I did last week. I knew last week going to M40's Night of Destruction, I had time,
Yeah.
that I didn't have to be there right away. But to get the wedges, I got to be to Kalamazoo probably by about, 11:30. It's not happening. Don't ask. I'm not doing it. So I'm going to actually sleep when I get home from Galesburg. I know it is what it is, but it's not happening on Sunday. So now maybe if the mini wedges end early enough, I'll come home and finish it and it'll be ready by Monday. And I'll probably have the Night of Destruction done because that does not require as much production as a normal race with lineups, especially with all the heat races tomorrow. Do you know how many times I could probably pass a spelling bee with everyone's name by now? I know my fingers don't always show that on the graphic where I go back. I'm like, how many times did I look at the damn thing and I still spelled it wrong? But it's because I mixed a letter like it should have been like
Yeah.
ST, but it's like TS, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
not like it's terribly spelled wrong, but I'm
Mhm.
like, I could as many times as I'm going to type those names from tomorrow,
Yeah.
you figure, let's say we have 90 drivers,
Uh-huh.
heat race graphic, that's the first time I got to type it. Let's say they won, that's the second time I have to type it. Feature graphic, if they
Yeah.
won, in results. So I'm typing 90 names, how many different times? At least
Yeah.
2 lineups and 1 results graphic. Do the math. 90
Yeah.
plus 90
Yeah.
plus typing the 90 again. So
I was
I
homeschooled, brother.
yeah, I don't use AI to do that. So maybe if I did AI and just took that like other people do, I can spit it out in 5 seconds. But I don't. I actually type
Yeah.
it. So so yeah, it's not happening. So
Mhm.
um just thought I'd put that out there because it's not.
Yeah.
I will be covering 3 events. Now the following weekend, Memorial Day weekend, I only have 2 events, so um, that I know of. So that one won't be busy. I'll probably have something up on Sunday, but then the week after is Corrigan's first Sunday show.
Mhm.
So I'm excited for that. So that'll be another busy weekend. So won't have things done on Sunday. It's kind of that time
Yeah.
of year. Things are going to happen fast. But I mean, it was 9, or was it 20? 19 or 20 messages. Where's the
Mhm.
programs?
Yeah.
I'm at an event.
Yeah.
There's only me. There's not. I don't have someone editing. I record and edit. Like, it's just me. So thought I'd put that out there while we're looking at this busy weekend ahead of us. But other
Yeah.
than that, I know I'm excited for tomorrow. I know
Mhm.
you're going to some events that we know that we don't talk about, but if you had to pick another place to go to, where would you pick?
Probably Kalamazoo on Friday. Big Kalamazoo guy. Got the shirt on, as I said earlier.
Yeah,
Hard to go wrong with Kalamazoo, especially when they're running the full weekly shebang. Yeah.
yeah.
And they're gonna say can't go wrong with Kalamazoo on Friday. Saturday, a little more open. Maybe Winston. Go check out the reopening of Winston.
Yeah, I hope people go check that out. That's something that, again, if I had an open weekend and I kind of look
Hmm.
around, especially now that I found the spot on my race pass where I can see like
Yeah.
all these events. I do want to throw out, I forgot to put on there Flat Rock and Toledo. Flat Rock is racing on Friday, and then Toledo's on Saturday night,
Yeah.
and the dwarf cars are at Flat Rock.
Okay.
So I know they always put on an awesome show. So the dwarf cars, I forgot to put them on the graphic this week, but the dwarf cars that are out at Flat Rock. So if you're on that side of the state and Flat Rock's racing, and then Toledo on
Yeah.
Saturday. But Winston's one I want to check out just because, again, it's supporting an owner who's risking. I mean,
Yeah.
they've put in a
Yeah.
lot of money to bring a track back.
Hmm.
How many times were we talking about track?
Back track. This track is back again. On top of that, this isn't even the first time it closed and reopened. So he's definitely taking a risk.
Yep. And I know, to have that, and then for the mini wedges, I think this was like their first nice weekend that they actually get to go out
Mhm.
and they have a double header. So I know Joel, he's going to be running the triple header just like me, because he'll be obviously announcing tomorrow. Feel for his voice, because he's announcing tomorrow at Kalamazoo, then he's announcing on Saturday at Berlin for the mini wedges, and unless something changed since the last I knew, and then he will be announcing on Sunday for the mini wedges. So I've let him know in the past that I have vitamin C drops with me all the time if he needs anything, but I know he has a lifesaver, so he's pretty covered. But you announced last Saturday. Now imagine doing that across three
Yeah.
days, nonstop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know who's watched the New Paris program from last week, but your boy had some voice cracks over the
yeah, you
course of the
mentioned that
program.
a couple times. I did. You can't hear me laugh at you on the roof, but I will tell you, for
It's
full
warranted.
transparency, the one, what was it? It was the Hornet race.
Oh,
Oh, his
well,
voice went.
there was a bat during the intro. I
Yep,
couldn't get up there. Who's ready for short track? And I was
yep.
like,
No, I did. Because you're in my left ear, so I can hear you, right? So there was even the week before, Jeremy, someone turned the button down, and so no one could hear him. And I'm like, I hear him just fine, and
yeah,
I can hear him because I'm hooked up into the system. But truly, nobody else could. I'm like, I don't know what your problem is. I hear him just fine. But yeah, there's a couple times that your voice went, and I went, did he get kicked somewhere? Because
no,
the way that you did it, I want to say it's the Hornets, where I'm like, is he
yeah,
auditioning for like Sister Act or something up in here? I don't know what you're trying to do,
yeah.
but when your voice
But
went, I went, that's amazing.
I can't repeat the line, but Steven told me something somebody said in the crowd as he was walking back up to the tower one time.
Yeah,
Tough
yeah,
sled, man. Tough sled.
yeah. So yeah, it's not easy being an announcer, right? And I mean, you did fine overall. I mean, that's where I tell people, okay, you found a typo or whatever every now and then, like
Yeah, yeah.
look at
I
all of
like
it, the
yeah,
complete
like
thing.
like I was telling people during the week, I didn't have anything that I messed up so bad that I lost sleep over or was kicking myself on the
So
drive home. I felt like I felt like I managed it okay. Definitely can improve, obviously.
yeah,
But yeah, it was okay.
I think that's the thing too that we didn't talk about this as much the other day, but sort of the theme, like
Yeah.
with Joel taking on big shoes, right? Filling in huge shoes that
Hmm.
so sometimes people focus on competition with others where, I
Yeah.
always tell people I just show up and I do my thing and I worry about
Yeah.
me and,
We
and
were
getting everything I need. Same thing
yeah.
with you.
And even going into, I mean, last week, going into when I was going to announce, we were talking about influences and stuff like that. I can tell you, I wasn't thinking of a single other announcer out there. I was working in lines from some of the
Oh
people I've
yeah.
heard over the years. I was doing that on purpose, working their lines in. But other than that, I wasn't thinking about like, oh, I sound like this guy right now or anything. I was just holding on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just got to be you. And so that's
Yeah.
it. I think that's at the end of the day. But yeah, there's a couple times that your voice went in, and Joel will tell you this. What was it? The second night I think he announced. It might have been the first night. I mean, his voice was like done,
Yeah.
and he couldn't even get it to crack if he wanted to. And I went down and I went, Jason doesn't announce the whole night, right? And he kind of looked and I said, he puts the microphone down and he watches the races and
Yeah.
he lets key moments or key things. Like he's not announcing every single lap.
Right.
And of course we have a new speaker system. So it could have been different because before you literally couldn't hear Jason once the races started going with the old speaker system. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
he could have had the throat or the microphone in his throat
Yeah.
and you wouldn't have been
Yeah.
able to hear it. But I literally went down when Joel and his voice, and you can tell, and I went, you do know that Jason wasn't announcing the whole time, right? You don't, and but that's the thing that for me, that's why I keep adjusting the audio, and I have to do more. Like I only had 2 nights of Kalamazoo, so this week I'm going to try something different because you at New Paris, you're in the tower, so you don't get the engine noise like Joel does on the balcony
It
where
is
he
a lot louder in there than you would think it is. You do get some
yep,
good noise in there.
yep,
Yeah.
at
I
least
hear what you're saying.
muffled. Yep, where I'm like, okay, now I have to adjust a little bit. So that my first night at Kalamazoo is too low, where when Joel went off microphone, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, great, dead air. Can't fix that. And then I went too high last week where there's once the big guys got out there, I went, oh, no, I can't hear him at all. I mean, I can hear him, but when you watch the production, I'm like, okay, and I know there's a way to fix the setting, but it still wasn't balancing the way I needed it to. And I went, all right, so this week we're going to try a different setting. And I have my permanent marker with me where I'm going to mark it, once we
Yeah.
find the sweet spot. But you can hear when Joel turns on the microphone, he gets all the noise. And I went, okay, so I got to try to balance that. So when he's not announcing, it still sounds mostly the same. But so that's an adjustment I keep making. But, I know people are enjoying the audios there. But yeah, when you cracked a couple times, I laughed up top just
Yeah.
to be full transparent.
Fully warranted. That's all. That's fair game. You absolutely should. I was laughing if it was somebody else. So
I'm like, he's coming out of his shell. Look at him, you know.
yeah, that's one
But
way to put it.
yeah, but you survived and you lived to tell about
Yeah,
it.
it was
Um,
fun.
but not only will your voice get in fine form, but if you're looking to have your car in fine form at some point, I do want to remind everyone
Oh,
about the
buddy, that
marketing
was
special.
professional right there.
You like that transition there? I
That
thought.
was good.
But anyways, at ELH Detailing, just to remember, if you're looking for your showroom shine, right there in Bridgman, Michigan, or I should say right here in Bridgman, Michigan, you can go to ELH Detailing and schedule it. When you get one full detail package, inside outside package, using the code Top Row between what was May 1st and all the way through September, you'll be entered for a chance to receive at possibly a full detail to be used within 1 year per purchase. So the more details you get, if you have a collector car, daily driver, boat, airplane, whatever it may be,
Mhm.
they do the detail. And the period showed up again. I literally had it deleted. That's going to irritate me, that damn period. But anyways, the first time that we're going to give a package away will be July 13th on the Monday Night Rewind, and the second time, so you could get two, would be October 12th, and this is a $700 value that they're offering for these two details. So So again, it's pretty awesome. ELH Detailing, they're also a big partner of Matt Kemp Racing for both the ARCA car and the Dwarf car, although I know Matt is stepping to the side a little bit from the Dwarf side as he focuses on the ARCA things. But again, if you're looking to get your showroom shine, ELH Detailing, and they will soon be on the card. Matt Alsey is what we call busy,
Yeah.
And he is like 3 weeks behind. So we were hoping to have the card redone, new sides and everything this week.
Yeah.
But with as busy as it is, it's probably going to be 2 weeks from now. So eventually, ELH will be on the car, as well as Federated Auto Parts will be on
Hmm.
the car at the level that they sponsored. But
Yeah.
I know I'm excited to get them on, and I was pretty appreciative of Eddie, doing that. And they have a huge car show coming up that I'll start promoting on this show
Hmm.
next week, just for people to, if
Hmm.
they want to come down to a car show and then find their way to a racetrack or whatever it may be. It
Yeah.
does go to a camp that it costs $1,500 for a kid with like cancer or whatever to go to this. So they're doing fundraising. So they've done, was it like they have enough that they can send 6 kids now, I think it
Wow.
is. So some sponsor just came in with a $3,000 sponsorship, so it's 2 kids right there that get to go, and
Oh.
it's out in Montana. So that it's
Oh.
campus out of Montana, but it's for kids with like cancer and that kind of stuff. So this is,
Yeah.
it covers their scholarship. So again, if you go, go to the car show that they have, is a small one. It's
Hmm.
in their parking lot and everything, but they'll have a
Yeah.
lot of cool cars there. That proceeds from that go towards helping to send kids to a camp for a couple of
That's
days
very
over in
cool.
Montana. So, so definitely, go get your detail, go, get your showroom shine, and
Yeah.
we've not forgotten, but we've just ran out of time to bring them back in. So I'm like, I got to remember, we got to show that graphic again. So, um, other than that, let's see. Ooh, we're good on time. Are you ready?
While we're talking about our marketing partners, real quick, we are grateful
Yep.
for the ones we have, ELH Detailing, Federated Auto Parts. If someone else were interested in being a partner with Top Row Racing Media, how might they get in touch with you?
Oh, absolutely. So the first one, the first level is the fan zone. So that's
Mhm.
$100, and that can be one person, that could be a couple people coming together and getting up to $100. It doesn't have to be just one single person. But from that point, so everybody at that level gets included in the full program. So it's kind of like almost if you go and do like a Patreon or whatever they call those things. So it's $100, and then that's fan zone. So that's full programs and all that to show support for Top Row. Then the onboard cameras come in play. And so I have 14, no, 5, 10, 12. 12 cameras so far sponsored. There's a couple weekly onboards that are still open. Those are 500 each. Or if a company or whatever or multiple people get together and they want to do 3 cameras, the more you go, the less it costs
Right.
overall. It's $1,300, and that's for 1 year. So whenever they start their sponsorship, it goes for one full year. It's just easier for me to manage rather than, if you come in now, well, you only get a couple months. No, it's gonna be one full year, and and with all the rainouts, I mean, it's not like we got too far in the season, right?
Right.
So that's even at the 500 level. So 500, 1300, or no, is that 15? Hold on. Now you're gonna make me do some math here. I want to make sure. So I'm gonna open up the graphic because I don't want to say I don't want to say
So
something wrong, and then
is
like
the best way to contact you message in the page then?
message the page, but I want to give
Mhm.
the real numbers. So it's 1400.
There you go.
That's the green flag package, and so that one is I'm going to read it. So it's logo name on like my clothing. Once Matt gets caught up, we're getting new T-shirts with the thing, so people still have time because we haven't had time to make these things yet. And then logo name on the Facebook cover. So if people see the Facebook cover that I have now, we have ELH detailing on there, Federated Auto Parts, because they're at that level. And then, so the 500 level is social media onboard clips. So if anyone's been seeing, I've been posting like Sabrina Beebe and that kind of deal on YouTube loaded. So if anyone goes to YouTube, they'll see at the top of the car photo is
Mhm.
that if that camera is sponsored, who that
Yeah.
is, and then they get to have that camera for the whole year. So there's no sharing like a camera unless someone comes to me and says, "Hey, we want to do a split thing." Then that's approved, right? Otherwise, I'm not going to say like, "Oh, here, Eddie, you get to sponsor camera number 5, but when I go to this track, this person gets to sponsor that camera." Like that's not, it's one camera, one sponsor, unless again a group came to me and said, hey, we have the Fred Flintstone Bedrock shared sponsorship, like, so that would be purposeful. And then if you're a green flag, which is 3 cameras or more, you get a decal on the Top Row Racing Media Pace vehicle, which with the number of miles that I do. And then the white flag package is $2,300, and that's 5 cameras. And so I have 2 people at that level. That's Federated, and that's ELH Detailing. That's 3x10 decal on the vehicle. And then once Matt again gets caught up with everything, the banners, my race day banners, their logos will be on those banners. And so I know when someone might hear that, they may be like, oh, so Lewis is rolling in the money. Remember, Lewis was 1,700 or 17,000 in the hole coming into this season. So like, we're still broke, but we're getting better. Having sponsors really helps. And not all of this is just straight up money. Some of it is trade.
Right.
So, if someone wanted to do like trade work, that's where, they could say, hey, maybe I don't have the funds to do it, but I have this thing that I could do. If you're interested, does that work for you? So so that's something too that, just kind of keep in mind if someone's like, hey, I can do this, and it adds up to this amount of money. What do you think? So just to kind of give people an idea that not all of this is actual presidents coming my way.
So to summarize, if you want to be your name up here, wrong hand, up here, like ELH Detailing or Federated Auto Parts, get a hold of Lewis and you guys can work something out. And the podcast is growing, so jump on board.
Yeah, we had 5,000 people see our podcast from Monday. It helped having Victor, but so that was our most watched. But even we've been getting anywhere from 21 to 2,500 on average each Monday. So again, that's for a podcast that's only a couple weeks in. And if you break it down, that money, like if you took that 2,300 and broke it down for a whole year, that's Rumble in Fort Wayne. That one is 26 cameras. Although I'm exhausted by the end of that, that's 26 cameras. So that's a couple days worth of advertising. Obviously, you get the Facebook hit. It was, when we broke it down one time, it turned out to be like $5 a night.
Yeah.
And so like this weekend, not as many because I only have Kalamazoo and a night of destruction. But if it were like last weekend when I had Kalamazoo and New Paris, you're getting the value there. So I always tell the partners, though, if it's super hot out, like 100-degree index and all that, then probably not running the cameras because they're going to die anyways. And that's what, and they're not going to die like battery die. They're going to turn off on their own and say, it's too damn hot for me to be working. So, which I can't control. That means the camera's doing its job by protecting its components. But, it's one of those, if it's already hot, I'm like, I already know what's going to happen. The cameras are not going to work. They're not going to function, and they're going to turn off. And then I feel bad, because then the drivers didn't get anything except for, oh, hey, I got to see myself wave to the crowd. And then it shut off. So that happened to Nick Strimmy actually at Super Shoe. He got to wave to the crowd and then the camera turned off. So I'm like, well, there you go. But yeah, so we still have time because the car's not done. I don't always think to do that plugging because it's weird to me.
I hear you.
So you kind of threw me off. I wasn't ready for that. But but definitely, any support helps. And you've been since day one, when it was even before Top Row. Any money I do get goes right back into it. And remember, I came into the year in the hole, so we're just trying to catch up. And with expenses, I mean, gas, we were just doing the math. It's $28? $28 just to drive to Kalamazoo and back, just fuel. So and that was from the government website. So I don't know how accurate the government website is, but it was literally their fuel.gov or whatever they call that. So we all know fuel prices are up, and you figure this week I'm Kalamazoo back home, Galesburg back home, and back to Kalamazoo back home. And someone might say, well, couldn't you get a hotel since you're going to be up that area? It's actually cheaper for me to drive back and home, back and forth than to get a hotel. So, hotel would be smart, less driving, less mileage, less wear and tear, but
that's why I want to invest in a camper van, brother.
And we have thought about that in the past, but that also
I want
Take
to do one bad, but yeah, another bag of worms, as they say, can of
yeah,
worms. They don't say bag of worms, they say can of worms.
bag of worms. Yeah, can of worms is funny though. Like if you think of the springy ones, but I do
Hey,
want to check comments real.
WWE Boogeyman had a bag
Oh
of
yeah,
worms, didn't he?
Boogeyman with
There we
worms.
go.
Um, let's see. Oh, Sheldon. So I want to catch up on comments because we
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
done that.
We've been chatty Cathy's tonight, Lewis.
Yeah, hey, that's not bad at all. So Sheldon, saying not only good luck, but he gets a chance in the modified this weekend.
Yeah, good luck to
So
you, Sheldon.
definitely good luck, Sheldon. Again, that was so awesome what you did a few weeks ago at New Paris. And I have no idea what Joel is talking about. But anyways,
When I said voice cracks, and then
yeah,
when you were
absolutely
talking,
spot. Now I know. And then Marcus, who just raced over at New Paris on Sunday or on Saturday this past week, the boys will be racing
yeah.
Kalamazoo wedges.
Good luck to the Vitali boys.
Oop, I went to hide his comment back and then I clicked the next one. Ray Roberts on here. So again, Ray in that Cowabunga car. Did you see his helmet?
I did not see that.
It's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle now.
You're gonna have to show me that next time I announce Ray. June 6th, I want to see the helmet.
Yes, that was so because I was in the pit area. This is after a Hornet found the only, of course, mud hole in the whole property, and which I'm also not shocked that it was a Hornet that found the one spot that had water that splashed up on the track. I'm like,
we're not Hornet bashing here, man. We're not Hornet bashing on my program.
Bingo board. That's the bingo board. That's a free spot. Hornet.
You're right.
Finds
You're
the
right.
wall. It's not a street stock that's doing it. And anyways, that's trends. Anyways, Ray Roberts. So he was stuck down there. So we were talking a little bit, and I went, "What do you have?" Because I don't remember that. I had an onboard camera with him before because he drives one-handed, right? So I'm like, I already remembered that, and he had just gotten it, so they weren't sure where they're going to put it, and so they put it on his helmet, and Noah, I don't drink, but hopefully our
I don't know if this is an inside joke.
Noah Longyear's on here, and he's saying, Lewis, I'm heading to the gas station for some beer. Hopefully we're not making him go drink. But anyways, what should I get? I want to give a shout out to Noah. I know he's with the competition, which, by the way, I did not declare them the competition. They declared me the competition, just so it's on record of that. But anyways, Noah does an incredible job. I will always sing his praise, even if he's on the other side of the fence. He helped at Ravers Rumble when CRA was there. We would not have had sound if it weren't for him. And he was not even on the clock. He wasn't working. He wasn't doing anything. And he came up. He was just there to be a fan. And he came up to help figure it out. Spent hours doing this. So even though he's on the competition, I won't ever, he more than earned whatever he should have got that day, plus some, because he sacrificed being a fan to get that to happen. So huge kudos to him and his recommendations to, help me get sound this year. So I will always sing his praise, even if he's in the orange brand. But he does sound and audio and all that for Great Lakes Super Sprint. So I know he's going to be busy this weekend doing a lot of that, and he's extremely talented with what he does. So even if he's on the orange side of things, I want to sing his praise because I just can't sing his praise enough. And so hopefully I know he gets to do a lot of cool, awesome things. So hopefully he gets many more opportunities like that because he definitely deserves them. But anyways, so there you go, Noah. I don't drink, so I don't know what to tell you. Buju, do you have anything that you would recommend?
Beer's gross. Get something other than beer. I know that's an unpopular opinion in the racing community, but I'm not a beer drinker either.
Well, I'm just hoping that our show's not making him drink. But anyways, he's busy on Mondays. He's doing all the production and everything on Mondays, so he can't watch us because he's busy doing production on Mondays. But anyways, before we do forget, I know we have the 60 with 6 if we want to get to that too.
Oh, yep. Shout out DJ.
So DJ McHotter again, and he's our guest. Him and Keith Behringer Jr., our guest this coming Monday. They have the whole episode. So this past Monday, we were packed with Victor and Jeremy, and then we had Joel and Brian Kasebe after that. So this week, letting it breathe a little bit. So here's our 60 with 6.
What's up, race fans? DJ McCotter here. So I have one word that I want to talk about here tonight. I'll get to that one word here in a second. As we get into the season, we are pouring time, effort, energy, and money, sometimes that we don't always have, back into our cars. And so when we're out on that track, we need to remember one thing. We ain't out there alone. We're surrounded by cars that have money, time, effort, and energy poured into them by their drivers, by their crew members. So that one word I want to talk about here tonight is respect. Respecting your fellow driver on track, respecting those in the pits and in the stands. And so I can encourage you that how you treat others will be reciprocated back to you. So let's show some respect today in the way we carry ourselves and in the way that we drive our fellow competitors. This is DJ McCotter, and I'll catch you next time.
Words to think about this week.
Yeah. Well, and I just feel bad for M40. We're not going to give names because we're not in that business.
No. Yeah, we're not a gossip show.
No. And but obviously it's gone all over, right? What happened at M40, and you just think about there's there's more than us, right? And so we just need to be mindful. There's a lot of people watching.
And I mean, I understand the other side to an extent too, because I mean I've been in the car. I've been heated before and done stupid things and said stupid things I shouldn't have said and made mistakes. And I mean we've all been there, but you do have to remember you're in front of a crowd and this is a kid show at the end of the day. We're trying to entertain kids out here, so we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, that was just, it was disappointing. And I know today I was part of I received the message that the Michigan Promoters Association received and a bunch of other tracks. And it's like, you just feel bad it got to that point, but you don't blame them, because if you don't pull the trigger on that and say enough's enough and draw the line, it will only go from there. Right. And so that's the thing that we just need to be mindful. There are things that frustrate people in life anyways, but it's like,
I also I commend the other tracks and series and whatever else for upholding suspensions as well. I think that should be the standard. I think that's a great move by track,
because it sends a message, right? And again, just feel bad for M40 that they're going through that, because they don't. Johnny and I had a conversation the other day, and I won't give quotes or anything, but the way I summed it up as in, because obviously he does his videos. Mm-hmm. And he draws a lot of comments sometimes with his videos. And I think the one thing is that I said, we've talked about this on here before, it's the sandbox. If you don't like the sandbox, go to a different sandbox. It's fine.
Can we put Brendan's comment on screen real quick?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't have that power, do you?
No, I don't.
You're the host, and I still have all the power. But anyways,
Brendan Davis says the golden rule you learn in kindergarten: treat others how you want to be treated. For racing, race others how you'd like to be raced. That's why I drive slow. I want others to be slow with me.
Yeah, that's why he drives slow. But the other day I gave him a hard time at New Paris. I said, "So how does it feel being second place? And the girl's the winner, right?" But anyways, so they were laughing at that. I was on the road. They weren't going to climb up and get me, but that's fun to see them at New Paris, though. I will say that Bailey and everyone, that was awesome. So, but anyways, again, it is absolutely that golden rule. So, and I think that's the thing that's, again, in competition, it's easy to get heated, right? It's easy to have that. I mean, when my brother and I would play, Madden or whatever, right? I was the one throwing the controller across the room, because I would get super mad or irritated. And when we played college football, he would be the one, because I would kick his butt all over. But in a Madden, and he did all the fancy button things. I'm like, I don't play Xbox enough to know all these buttons and hot routes and all that. I just click A and I go, or whatever the button is.
Right.
Like I just run the play that is. I don't know how to do all these stupid audibles and everything. So he'd do all these. The screen would be lit up with all these things. I'm like, I don't even know what you're doing. And then 80-yard pass, and it's like, I can't say the word right now, but the sentiment that I gave him, and the controller's flying. So like, I get it, and that's a video game, by the way. Hot route. Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's a video game, but at the end of the day, I'm like, whatever. That's why we would play NCAA football, because all I had to do is run the ball. He couldn't stop it, and because I'm a run first, pass second, because when I pass the ball, I would get intercepted. And I know that's not racing, but I get it, right? Like, we're saying that people get mad at things. Like, we understand, but you're behind a weapon, essentially. Yeah. You're driving a weapon.
Yeah.
And,
literally. Yeah.
You need to be mindful of that, because that weapon can do some damage.
And it's
intentionally or,
also, you
unintentionally.
know, what money you're putting into it. You want to cost other people money, man? It breaks my heart when I when I run into somebody and I know I broke something on their race car. That kills me. I lose sleep over that stuff.
So yeah, so just don't do it, right? And obviously, we're not going to call anyone out. It's not our
Yeah.
business to do that. They can call themselves out on Facebook and do all the bickering if they want. We'll leave it up to them. But
Yeah.
but it's one of those things that, again, just be mindful out there. We get it, competition, right? So
Yeah, like I said, I absolutely lost my cool many, many, many times at a racetrack. So I 100% get it. You just like I said, I'm trying to be better. Everybody's got to be better. You got to lock in and remember where you are.
yeah, and not only remember where you are, but if a program doesn't go forever, it's probably easier to remember that. So let's remember our question one more time. How long should a race program last in duration? This is from the first green flag of the race program, so not qualifying and all that stuff beforehand. This is literally from the first advertised green flag drop when the program's supposed to start to the end. 1 to 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, or race all night. Who cares? So don't forget, and you don't have to just say a letter. You can obviously put your explanation too, but I didn't want to forget that. But that way we're going to end on a Debbie Downer note. But we'll have DJ again, and we can ask him because he has maybe had hot moments. I know it doesn't seem possible, but we'll ask him, and then Keith Behringer, Jr. We can ask them too. We can say, have you ever, been in a moment?
He's gonna have some hot moments with my family.
Oh, good. We'll put you on the hot seat then, because at least you can say it wasn't you. You can blame it on other people.
No, it wasn't me.
You can say that was my brother. We're not quite from the same tree, but no, that's something that we can ask them and see. But they had quite a rivalry though at one time too. At least on the track. I don't know what it was in the pits, but on the track it was definitely.
I mean, you always have moments, but Keith's our friend. We like Keith.
Absolutely, and you guys were parked by each other too.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's the mankind moment of the show where cheap plug time, Monday Night Rewind again this Monday coming up at 7 p.m. The next 2 Mondays, I have not scheduled Buju actually into June yet. This is actually the first time that I've not scheduled a month in advance. So I'm kind of stressing a little bit, and it's more because I haven't gone to schedule anybody. I have names to schedule. I just haven't taken the next step. But anyways, Monday night we have Keith Behringer, and then we also have DJ McCotter who's back, and then on the following Monday, Memorial Day Monday, we have Will Greenwell, who will be coming on, again, one of the best announcers that you can find in the United States. He's had a lot of opportunities. You can hear him at Salem Speedway from time to time. You can hear him at the Speedrome from time to time, on Flow Racing, Racing America, Dirt Vision. Wait, no, maybe not Dirt Vision, maybe Pit Road TV. We'll have to ask him if he's been on Dirt Vision. I can't remember if he's been Dirt Vision or not, but I do know Pit Road TV. So again, he will be on, again, one of the best announcers that you'll find in the nation. He was in the top spot to be on Monster Jam. But he decided with family time and all that it wasn't going to work for him to do that. But otherwise, he was a finalist to be on Monster Jam. So, I mean, that's Monster Jam, right? So I'm excited for him. But after that, I don't have it scheduled yet. So I can't tell you who's coming up in June, but we'll start figuring it out pretty shortly. And before we get going, I do want to check comments one more time, just because 3 to 4, that's Scott Gates. So Scott Gates at 4 on regular night, all night for Super Shoe, Michigan Cup. Yeah, that's different because we're already there. So I can understand that. But and it probably keeps the alcohol maybe not flowing as much, which makes the pit area. Well, Michigan Cup's not dangerous to walk around, but Super Shoe, I don't know. You need like bubble wrap, but
the occasions where you go to the parties and some races break out are a different story.
Yeah, although they did a lot nice job last year. They had Bob Garrett patrolling, Donnie was patrolling. I mean, still some things happened, but they gave leeway. Yeah. But once it got crazy, they pulled the plug on that pretty quickly because they weren't equipped with it.
I've been on a golf cart that got in trouble at Kalamazoo before.
Yeah. Like the one year they were doing demolition derbies in the back by the haunted house. And I threatened the one group. I said, you know what we're going to do? If you keep hitting your golf carts into each other, we're going to put you in the haunted house. We're going to do an escape room, and it's just going to be on repeat, a C feature front wheel drive. And that's all you're going to hear and watch the whole time. Escaped that. So, like we'll make sure those doors are locked. You'll hear that C feature all night long. But, and I didn't say it was a Kalamazoo C feature. It was going to be a C feature, and it was going to be one of the brutal ones that you just sit there and wish to God that it's over with. But luckily at Kalamazoo, we don't have too many of those, but every now and then I'm like, what is happening in the water today? But I mean, even last week's was super entertaining, but usually ours are entertaining, but I have a few sea features in my in my video files that I could pull out and be like, that's what you're going to watch if you keep crashing to each other. But which I found it funny. I'm like, once you see the green flag drop, you won't be laughing anymore. They literally crashed on the front stretch, like 5 of them. But let's see, what do we have from Pitbull? I'm happy that the other tracks are upholding banned suspensions because drivers who show disrespect at one track shouldn't be allowed to just load up and head to another. And sometimes that's happened in the past. So
back in the old days.
Yeah. So other than that, I know we went just a few minutes past, but let me do the quick rundown that we did before because that people did like that. So again, for Friday, you can go Corrigan Oil, I-96, Winston, Kalamazoo, Kankakee, Mount Pleasant, or Tri-City Motor Speedway. Most of those are Michigan. Some are Illinois, some are Indiana. And then Saturday, Berlin, Butler, Crystal, Galesburg, where I'll be, M40, Shady Hill, or over again at Winston. Again, that's their official opening for the first time in several years. If you go down to Shady Hill, I bet you'll be able to see Noah down there because he does their GLS TV. So that's probably where Noah will be doing the audio and everything. And then on Sunday, you have the Intimidator with the mini wedges, and that's a reschedule. So again, lots to do this weekend. Mini wedges are also in Berlin. So, think of Joel, as he will be announcing all 3 days. So by Sunday, his voice might need some rest time. But other than that, cheap plug one more time, Monday Night Rewind this coming Monday at 7 p.m. You've been watching the Thursday Night Throttle with Louis and Buju. Anything else good for the group?
Nope. I think we said it. We said it all, brother.
All right. Well, again, just remember, not every track will be listed every single week. Owasso, as an example, they have their Tuesday show. That's why I didn't include them this week. But Owasso's racing, Flat Rock's racing, Toledo's racing. So
and beyond.
So other than that, it's almost tomorrow. We turn left and go fast because
we'll see you at the races.
See everyone at the races.